Hello, this is Tony Blazier for the Motocross Vault presented by Blinzall. If you're in the market for some high-quality racing oil for your two-stroke or four, make sure you go to blinzall.com and use our discount code VAULT20 to save 20% at checkout. Thank you for all the support.
Hey, this is David Iser from DMXS Radio, and you are about to get roosted in the Motocross Vault.
Hello and welcome back to the Motocross Vault. My name is Tony Blazier, and what this video is going to cover is my picks for the top 10 best looking factory connection / Geico machines of all time. 2020 has been a real bear in so many ways. I think all of us are glad to have it in the rearview mirror, and one of the casualties of this last season was the Geico Honda team. They were a staple in the circuit since 1998, I guess was the first year, and with Mike LaRocco. And over that time, they were, really one of the premier teams for many, many years. They became, somewhere in the mid-2000s, they became Honda's kind of official satellite 125/250 program. And unfortunately, this last year when Geico pulled out, the team folded. Super bummer. Obviously tough year in so many ways, and hopefully this will be won't see a bunch more of that stuff happening in 2021. But in any case, at this time, I thought it'd be kind of fun to go back and look and see some of their best looking machines. There's a little bit of a sameness to some of these teams like, Monster Energy and Geico. When they get those big corporate sponsors, they basically have to, have a sameness that, they got the logo on there. They really don't change a ton from year to year, but every now and again they do, special bikes or something for special events. And, or especially early on, they had some really different looking machines when they had different sponsors like Amsoil and what have you. Some of these bikes, I really think they look great. And I thought it'd be fun to highlight and basically mark down my 10 favorites that they've done over this time. Again, purely my opinion. I'm sure you guys will have differing opinions on which ones you like best. I'd love to know in the comments section below, what ones you agree with me, don't agree. Obviously, this is purely subjective stuff. But what makes bench racing fun? It's mostly subjective stuff. So I love arguing this with my buddies and stuff. So hopefully you'll enjoy this one. If you like this, I'll do some others. Obviously there's tons and tons of teams, and especially teams like Troy Lee and stuff. They've had some really cool looking bikes over the years. It'd be fun to do some of these other ones if this is, people like it, if it's popular. If you'd like to support what I do, I have Motocross Vault merch available. I have several designs. I've done many different motorcycles. I've done like the Yamaha IT. I've done like a couple of XRs. I've also done several trucks now. That the trucks seem to be really popular. I mean, all of us have trucks. That's part of the dirt bike ethos. Most of us have a truck, at least in the U.S. anyway, and we haul our bikes around in the back. And it's kind of fun to have something with your bike and the truck on a shirt. So it's been real popular. You can find a link here in the description below, and I'll put a card here in the video if you'd like to check out some of the stuff I've done. If you have any suggestions for truck and bike combos, I'd love to know that. I'm always asking people, hey, what would they like to do? I've even done a couple of custom ones. So if you're looking for something custom, hit me up at the motocrossvault@gmail.com. Or you can leave it in the comments too, or DM me. But I would be happy to look at doing some custom stuff for people. As long as they're willing to buy a few things, I'm happy to spend a little time designing something a little bit different for them. So here, without further ado, are my picks for the 10 best looking Geico / Factory Connection Honda machines of all time. Up first in 10th place, we have Mike LaRocco's 1999 Jack in the Box Factory Connection Honda. I do much prefer this second year of the program to the first in 1998. Just not as colorful. And while I actually like this body design, the 97 CRs, the stock bikes in particular, I thought were really good looking bikes. The 97, 98 were really handsome machines in my opinion. Some of the graphics packages didn't always work the best. And I do think that this white is a little more bright and more attractive to my eye at least than the 1998 version. As you can see, being 10th on my list, it's certainly not my favorite bodywork. I think the 2001s and later were better looking motorcycles in general. But this first one is, not a bad looking machine by any means. And obviously, I think the first generation ought to be on the list, certainly, if nothing else, for the significance of the team being started up here. The Jack in the Box overall logo is prominently displayed, even though obviously I don't think Jack in the Box actually was that much of a major sponsor of the team. But it certainly helped give the team some credit initially. And I think this 99 design is a good looking motorcycle overall. It's certainly not one of my favorites, but I think it's worthy of the number 10 spot on my list. Here in 9th place, we have the 2016 Geico Hondas. In general, I would say I'm not a giant fan of this body style. When it was introduced in 2013 on the 450s, I thought it was kind of weird looking. Didn't really love the move back to the dual exhaust. I thought the side panels were a little, kind of strange and busy looking. The whole front fender, just pretty much everything about the bike in stock condition. Not really a giant fan of it, but I will say the Geico team did a good job of kind of sprucing up the looks here. This is actually a pretty good looking motorcycle. Obviously, there's a little bit of a sameness to all the Geico era bikes. With having to have the big Geico on the shroud. They weren't allowed to do a whole lot of change, kind of like with Monster Energy and their teams. But Geico, I think, in general, does do a good job of kind of mixing it up year to year and kind of freshening things up. And I will say that this 2016 is a pretty good-looking motorcycle, and certainly much more handsome than the stock machine in these years. Good-looking motorcycle overall. Not one of my favorites, but certainly worthy of the number 9 position. Next up in 8th, we have the 2009 Las Vegas Special Edition of the Geico Hondas. Now, all the teams over the years have, kind of one-off versions of their graphics, either for Las Vegas, the season finale, sometimes like the Monster Cup, or something like a military appreciation. Geico was always big into that, although I don't think they ever did like a retro style that I can recall. But in general, some of the military ones I think are, better than others. I wasn't a huge fan of the white, the snow camo kind of deal, but this 2009 version where they went all black with the red accents actually I think is a very cool look. This is from a guy who really doesn't like black motorcycles in general. I think too much black is not great, but the red really makes it pop. The yellow makes it pop. It really works well with their overall graphic design, how it kind of plays into the Geico colors. And I think this is a good look. I wouldn't want them to run this every week, but I remember when they came out for this in 2009, I was like, oh man, that is a cool looking motorcycle. And I think it really made their bikes and their riders stand out that weekend. So I think it's definitely my favorite of their kind of one-off graphic packages over the years. Next up in 7th place, we have the 2011 Geico Honda of Kevin Windham. I love this body design. This is actually maybe my favorite Honda bodywork maybe ever. I mean, some of obviously the 1990 and 94 and what have you are good looking motorcycles, but this 2009 to I guess 2012 body style was really a good looking machine. I like it better than any of the ones that Honda's come out with since. As far as a stock machine anyway, I love the bike overall, and the bodywork is just a little less fussy than some of the later ones, which I think are a little bit overdone in my opinion. But this 2011 machine is a good looking motorcycle. I like the overall design of it. The graphics work well with the bodywork. Understated, not too crazy. Basically just clean. But it's what I liked about these bikes. Like I said, they're a little less fussy, I think, than some of the other ones. They didn't go so crazy with all the the angular cuts and the weird side plates and what have you. And I think the graphics work well with this overall design. Good looking motorcycle. Really, all the bikes. Team 22 was great looking machine. The factory Hondas are great. I think all these. The 3 or 4 years of this body design, all these motorcycles are good looking. And as far as the Geico goes, I think this 2011 is my favorite. All right, now we're starting to get into some of the heavy hitters on my list. Here in 6th place, we get the 2017 Geico Honda team. Now, as I said a moment ago, I don't really love this body style. I thought this body work was a little bit busy, but holy moly, Honda and Geico just knocked it out of the park here in 2017 with this all red look. I think it so kind of really works great with the Geico logo. It brings the overall design together better than with the white. I think it was a really smart move to go all red. I think, in my personal opinion, this is just a drop dead good looking motorcycle, and it really is just down to the plastic mainly, because it really isn't much different than any of the other years other than just going all red. I think really made a huge difference in the way the bike looks. Good looking motorcycle. I mean, if I had to rate it, I'd say I like this 50% better than the 2011 design, just because all red look. Definitely I think they made the right decision this year when they went this look. In 5th place, we have the 2001 Amsoil Honda of Mike LaRocco. This is a few years before Geico came on board, so Amsoil was the main title sponsor at this point in 2001. This is a really good-looking motorcycle. I love this change they made to go to the yellow, bring the yellow into the graphics. I don't know if that's maybe a nod to Factory Connection, their logo being yellow. I'm not sure what caused them to make this decision, but I like this 100% better than the 2000 look, which was, I guess, fairly similar. It had the wing into the shroud and what have you, but bringing the yellow there really brightens it up. I just think it looks great. I love this motorcycle overall. Really, it's kind of tough. When I start getting into the top 5, honestly, I think all these are really handsome graphic designs. Good looking motorcycle overall. I think mainly the thing is I do prefer the later CRs a little bit better than this '01 design. The '01 design is good looking, but the '02 model is probably the best looking of all the two strokes. That was a really good looking design in general, and I think this graphic package works really well. Handsome motorcycle, bright. If you compare this to like some of the later Geico ones, which seem kind of boring, this seems like it's almost like a kaleidoscope of colors, but I think it really works well. This was a good year for Mike LaRocco on this machine, and a great looking motorcycle. Here in fourth place, we have the 2002 version of the Amsoil Honda team. I love these graphics as well. Like, as I said, I love the yellow. When they start incorporating the yellow in here, it really brightens things up, and I love that look. In fact, I bought these graphics. I had a 2002 CRF 450 I bought brand new when they very first hit the market that year, and I ended up putting these graphics on my personal CRF. I think it's a really handsome look still. One of my all-time favorites for sure. And this bodywork in '02, I think, is a little more handsome than the '01. The '01's a good-looking motorcycle too, but I think from the '99 style to the '01 was an improvement, and then of course in '02 again was a big improvement as well, in my opinion. And that's basically the reason. I mean, the graphics themselves, it doesn't have the big Honda wing on the shroud. Which may or may not be, a loss in this case, but I like the fact that they kept the same basic color combo. Good looking motorcycle in my opinion. Here in third place, we have the very similar 2003 Amsoil Hondas. This was the last year of the yellow. They had a little more yellow to the seat than they had the year before. The graphics are maybe a little bit cleaner. As I said, the '02 and '03 are very similar overall, but I do prefer the looks of the '03 model. There's a little more red on the lower fork boots. Oh, on the fork boots. A little more. I'll show my age there. A little more red on the lower fork guards. Overall, I think it's maybe a little better design, but it's really close. In '04, they went away from this. They went to the much more black. They ditched the yellow completely, which I hated. I really did not like that change. The mid 2000s are definitely my least favorite of the Geico slash Amsoil bikes. And I did not care for that change, but here in '03, I think they hit it out of the park. They had Travis Preston running the #1 plate. Good year for the team. I mean, great looking motorcycles and great graphics as well. Here in second, we have an absolute stunner of a motorcycle, in my opinion, the 2020 Geico Honda. This last couple of years, man, I think they just knocked it out of the park. And if you're going to go out on top, they went out at the last round, kicking everybody's butt, and they went out with some really good looking motorcycles. I will say, I think this last few years, they were very clean looking motorcycles. They kind of got rid of all the fussy multicolor deal. And although I love the yellow early on, I will say this last couple of years of this kind of more understated look really work well. And I don't even, as I said earlier, I don't really like this body style. I think the earlier ones were cleaner in general as far as the stock body work and stock graphics go. But what Geico did here with this motorcycle in 19 and 20 really shows how handsome this bike can be if you just change the plastic and change the graphics around a little bit. Great look overall, in my opinion, and certainly one of the best looks the Geico team ever had. All right, in first place, #1 with a bullet, is the 2019 Geico Honda. I absolutely love this motorcycle. It's funny because, as I said, in general, I've never been a giant fan of just like black plastic. And this one relies heavily on like black number plates, which normally, again, I'm not a giant fan of. When Ricky Carmichael had them on his 97 KX 125, I couldn't stand it. But somehow on this motorcycle, it just all works. I do prefer the graphic design a little bit better in 2019 than 2020. The wing design is it's subtly different. They're really close, but this has the iconic HRC Honda wing like from the 80s on the shroud. The overall all red look is just beautiful. It's just a motorcycle done right. I mean, this may be one of my all-time favorite Honda looks, including factory bikes or anything. I just think they did a phenomenal job. When I first saw these photos come out for this bike, I was like, my jaw hit the floor. I was like, oh my God. Because again, the Geico bikes, they're always okay. They never were my favorites since maybe the early 2000s, That 15-year period from '04 until like 19, it really wasn't any of those bikes, knocked my socks off because I thought they were so damn beautiful. But wow, I think they won the team sweepstakes in 2019 with having the best looking bikes on the track, hands down. They really did a great job here, and I just think this motorcycle is just awesome. So again, it's sad that the team is gone. but at least this last couple of years they had some really good looking motorcycles to close out things. So hopefully Geico will be back in the future. I don't know. If it does, maybe they'll come out with some new motorcycles and we can update this list. So there you have it. That's my pick for the 10 best looking factory connection bikes of all time. I'm sure we'll have a little differing opinions on some of these. I would love to know what y'all think. You know, if you think I was totally blind and an idiot here, feel free to leave a comment in the section below. I'm sure, like I said, everybody has a little different opinion on this stuff, and it's just mine. So in any case, until we meet again, this is the Tony Blazier for the Motocross Vault. Keep the rubber side down. Peace.